Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair, took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no home, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. But need cheap keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, thought they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up from my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah. never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Frankie Candles live stream here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. Welcome back. Guys, we don't really have much to talk about today. I'm not going to lie. We got some important stuff to look at as we have some potential high volatility incoming tomorrow. Going in the studio. Hey, shout out to Banuta. We got Phoebe here. She's just curled up by my feet, sleeping here. But guys, we got a lot to look at here on the charts. I'm just breaking your chops. We got some stuff to look at here. It is going to be a little bit of a shorter stream. I have some important stuff that I have to take care of, guys. Pay your taxes. But I just want to make sure I pay mine. But yeah, it's going to be about an hour today. Shout out to the mods. If you guys can keep me on track, and by keep me on track, I mean attempt to keep me on track. I do have some important stuff to take care of here, guys. So we're going to do like an hour today. I'm going to update you guys on the price action here as Bitcoin is still just kind of grinding sideways, waiting for that injection of volatility that is likely to come in tomorrow. Are we going to get a surprise rate cut? I saw somebody say it in the chat. Are we going to get a surprise rate cut tomorrow? I mean, I will tell you this. It's very, very hard to predict if we're going to get a surprise rate cut. However, if we were to see that, we might be able to see some insane God candles on Bitcoin, but it's not necessarily what I'm anticipating. But we'll talk about kind of what I'm looking at and the key levels, guys. Specifically today, I want to talk about the top 3 key levels that I'm looking at and where I am most interested in my next bigger positions. Recently here, even in the premium Discord, we just kind of been getting in and out of the scalps, grabbing our bag, jumping out in this kind of weird sideways price action. So I want to talk about the next key levels where I'm looking at the bigger trades and, if we get a big move up or a big move down, where are we likely to go? I'm going to cover all that for you guys. We're going to talk about a new range that I'm looking at locally, and we are currently getting a bounce from that value area low. So I'm going to talk about what I'm expecting here in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long term, so you guys are fully prepared for tomorrow. Even if you're not in a trade, you can at least wait for that volatility to bring you up to a key level. So hopefully you can fire on some good trades and make some money here, whether price goes up or down. So shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you guys for being here. We got all set in the chat. We got Shunzin. What is going on? Shunzin said rate cuts won't happen 100%. Yeah, I think it's like 99% chance there's no rate cut. And like literally those are always correct. Obviously if it wasn't correct and we do get rate cuts, obviously it'd be crazy, but obviously not expected here. So that's not what I'm going to be expecting, but hey, we could wish, right? We could have hopes. Maybe I'll that would be crazy. Let's see. Rating on the rate cuts is like taking the chance on a fart. Yo, who said that? Shout out to Sean Perry, yo. Let's go. Waiting on the rate cuts is like risking it. Taking the chance on a fart is crazy. But yeah, it is, guys, obviously we do need that looser monetary policy to see this stuff all go back up. As you guys know, I don't think that we're in a bear market just yet. I think it's a little too soon to call for that. You guys know that. I'm going to try not to stick too much. Lately, we've been kind of covering, like, is this the bear market? How low can we go? I'm going to try to just take a look at the local levels here today because we've been talking about that every day for the past week or two, and Bitcoin's just going sideways. So I'm going to cover more of the local time frames today. Let's see, 100x fart coin hoping for the cuts. Let's go. Shout out to K. Giggity, let's go. Take the chance on Fartcoin. Let's go. Let's see. We got CJ in the chat. What is going on, CJ? We got Crypto Algorithm said, do you think Japan might surprise us with increasing their interest rates? Maybe, to be honest, like I am really just a level-to-level, almost 100% technical trader. So, maybe that happens. If it does, we'll probably get a move to the downside. And then, we could just react off the levels that we have on the chart. That's at least how I like to trade. So yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. Tomorrow might be the day. Obviously Bitcoin kind of just flatlined here, just kind of boring going sideways. I do think if we're going to get a move tomorrow, there's no better day than tomorrow to get a move, hopefully to the upside, but yeah, I don't know. We're going to take a look at the money flow and what I'm expecting here next, guys. But let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Lucky's Thought said, saw Frankie at a $520 million short, huh? Lucky, keep it on the DL, bro. But anyway, let's see. Shout out to Alex. Welcome in, bro. We got Johnny December. Shout out to Johnny December. Says, good day. Shout out to you, brother. I assume from Australia. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for being here. We got Ryan Smith. Said, what entry point should I look for with BTC? Depends on what you're looking for. You're looking for short-term scalps. That's kind of what I've been sticking to recently, other than the bigger long-term swing trades. Or you're talking about your spot bags. If you can give me a little bit more information, I could try to give you an idea of what I would look for. Show Frankie the charts. He'll tell you the news. Shout out to FaZe. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts here and see if we can predict the next move on Bitcoin as we grind sideways. Let's get into it. So here we are, guys, on the Bitcoin chart. Yeah, this is to be quite honest, guys, like I'm going to go over the higher time frames very, 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 very briefly here, just because not a lot has changed, right? On the daily time frame, obviously, we do have the red dot printing here, which is, and again, guys, like even with the technical signals that we're seeing, as you guys know, we were looking at a market cipher B116 strategy potentially setting up last night. But as I've been saying recently, we kind of have to take these setups with a grain of salt, because in this choppy price action, as we kind of just wiggle sideways, sometimes this stuff can get stepped on, right? And we actually did see that happen last night because it was a bullish market cipher B 116 strategy. And, we were looking at the possibility of potentially getting, if we come down to the lower time frames, we have our larger volume profile here, right? We have our larger kind of, let me actually pull this up so you guys can take a look at it. We had this larger profile above, and as we were hitting our head on here, it's like, hey, are we going to get accepted in here and get the move up, or are we just going to get another rejection back to the downside, potentially getting a move back down into our lower volume profile? And obviously, we did wind up getting the rejection and getting the move back to the downside. So I will cover that in just a minute here, guys, but let's go back up to the higher time frames. Obviously, we do have the daily red dot, and again, with the volatility tomorrow, guys, the TA might get stepped on here, right? So it really depends on what happens in that meeting, and kind of the language that Powell decides to use on whether we're going to get a big move up or a big move down. So as we look at this, right, daily red dot is printing. 2-day VWAP is rolling over. Again, on these higher time frames, it does take a little bit more time to play out. So, this is, plenty of time for this to get support on the zero line and come to the upside. So, I would, again, with the volatility tomorrow, we could potentially even see the red dot confirm and then get an instant green dot. So please, if you're out there trading, guys, please use good risk management. Use your stop losses. Do not be 100x longing or 100x shorting with no stop loss tomorrow. Hopefully if you do, hopefully it goes in your favor, but just be careful out there, guys. Very unpredictable volatility tomorrow. But, I'm just going to talk based off the charts solely right now. Daily red dot is printing, so this could potentially give us a continuation to the downside. 16-hour, come on, baby, come on, trading view. There we go. Red dot confirmed. You could just see here, guys, in this choppy market condition, red dot, green dot, red dot, right? They're just getting stepped on here. Almost all the higher time frame signals are just kind of getting chopped up here, which is why on the lower time frames, guys, we've just kind of been locking in our money and waiting for the next trade. But coming on over here, higher time frames, I would probably say, with the daily red dot, money flow still coming to the downside, I'd probably lean a little bit more sideways bearish, but again, with the unpredictability of tomorrow, I'm not really taking any huge bets right now. I'm going to let the volatility play out. Maybe I'll trade it, maybe I'll trade that volatility potentially, but to be honest, I'm kind of just sitting on my hands waiting here. I am still holding my long position that I showed a couple days ago. I'm still holding that position. If it winds up giving us the move to the upside, I will just continue to cash in on that. Almost got stopped out today, but if we do come back down and get stopped out, I'll get stopped out in profit, so no big deal. But, daily red dot, not a lot of clear signals, right? The only thing, like the clear signals, in my opinion, kind of lie on the 2-day, right? Like 2-day money flow coming out with the VWAP rolling over. Obviously, I do still think there is a possibility of coming down lower. Obviously, depending on what happens tomorrow. If we wind up getting the dump, I'm going to talk about the key levels that I'm looking at below. And then, like I said, I want to cover the 3 key levels that I am watching, right, on the higher time frames. And then I'll show you guys the local ranges that I'm looking at for the day trades and the scalps. So, if this VWAP, right, just looking at this from a binary perspective, guys, money flow crossing into the red, VWAP rolling over. This is, obviously, as we've been talking about, more pointing towards, some kind of lackluster retracement. Was that the lackluster retracement? Maybe. But any kind of pump to the upside here, we have to be very cautious, right? Because, even if we get, a big pump tomorrow for some reason, like even, I'm going to talk, one of the key levels I want to talk about is sitting up here. But, even if we get a significant retracement here, guys, like, this money flow crossing over into the red is going to be more likely that we have to look through the lens of lower highs and lower lows to come in, right? So, higher time frames, I would still kind of have to lean towards, a little bit more downside, right? Potentially coming in. Just, the trend is your friend until the end. And when we're trying to identify the trend other than just market structure, right, money flow does indicate the longer-term trend. So, if we do get the push up, we got to look for the lower highs and the continuations down. And we will cover some of the key levels I'm watching in case we do get the move up. My goal here is to have you guys prepared with the key levels. And then tomorrow, if we get the volatility, hopefully one of those levels gets tapped and we can potentially find some nice trades off of those, right? If we get those bullish or bearish confirmations. So, there you go, right? 2-day, this is still looking pretty bearish. Daily, red dot money flow coming out. This is still from a binary perspective looking a little bit more bearish, right? If we wanted a massive, massive move to the upside, right, and to do all-time highs or maybe not even, right, just like a significant move up, we really want to see this money flow starting to turn up, and it is not at the current moment. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at higher time frames. Pretty simple. Everything remains the same as far as money flow on the higher time frames, simply put. Now, as we come on down here to some of the lower time frames or, medium hourly time frames, 8-hour, nothing really to take away from here. 4-hour VWAP is attempting to come up here just a little bit. Money flow still kind of looking nasty, right? It's like coming up, coming back down, just kind of not really much to take away from here as well, right? Like I'm hoping that tomorrow, if we get a bigger move, hopefully it kind of resets everything and gives us a little bit more clear signals because, this is obviously, there's not, it is what it is, right? We have to trade the charts that we're given, right? We have to trade the price action that we're given, and this is just super choppy, guys, right? Like just, whoa, right? It's just like really, really sketchy price action. And again, I'm going to show those local levels in just a minute. But yeah, 4-hour VWAP coming up. If we are going to get a continuation to the upside, I'll talk about this more when I bring up the local levels. That green dot prints on the 4-hour. We can obviously come on down here to the 15-minute and start to look for this money flow, which is also attempting to work its way to the upside. So if that green dot on the 4-hour and this 15-minute money flow crossover does time itself, in sync, right? We get that 15-minute money flow crossover with that 4-hour green dot. I think that's our best bet of getting a little bit of a continuation to the upside. But again, in this choppy price action, I would not really be looking at that as like some massive bullish signal. It's just kind of, if we get that next green dot, that's our best bet of getting a push to the upside here, in my own personal opinion. So, for the most part, kind of sitting on my hands here, holding that long position and just waiting to see what kind of volatility we get tomorrow. But to bring up the key levels, guys, I'm going to start here on the macro levels, right? Number one, if we look at the higher time frames, guys, let's assume, if and when this happens, right? In my opinion, the most likely situations, right, is Bitcoin going to go up or down? Well, if it does come down, obviously we are going to be looking at our next major key levels. Let me pull up the upper range here, right? So the next key levels to the downside, very simply put, are really going to be sitting down here below the wick between 76 and 75K. I know the same exact levels we've been looking at. We have a daily and a weekly naked point of control sitting down there. So at the end of the day, guys, if that daily red dot does continue this downtrend and we do come down here to sweep the rest of the liquidity below this low, I will be looking at this level between about, call it 76.5 all the way down to $75,000. This is key level number one that you want to have on your chart, because if something crazy happens tomorrow and we do get that volatility, we get a big push down, this is going to be that first kind of level on the higher time frames that I will be looking at for some kind of a bounce. Now, level number two, right? Level number two is going to be also to the downside. Obviously, if we do get the bigger move down and we do come to sweep this liquidity and we do not hold this with bullish confirmations for a bounce and we lose this level, guys, obviously, we're going to be looking down towards some scarier levels, right? And again, these all remain the same. I just want to make sure you guys have these on your chart. But again, like tomorrow, I don't know if FOMC is just going to like nuke us all the way down here. So really pay attention, right? $75,000 at this weekly naked point of control is going to be that big, big key level that you absolutely want to hold. Now, if we pull up the, let me go ahead and hide this, right? If we actually, no, I'll keep that up. If we do wind up coming down there, we lose this level. Obviously, we're going to be looking down towards that. If I'm showing this, I'm sorry. And, those lower levels are sitting down here. First level, again, I've said this many times. This is kind of a non-confluent level. There's not a lot of confluence up in here. And, sitting at about $72,000, right? It is the top of the golden pocket, but there's really nothing else there. So, it is there. It could get a bounce, right? Could give us a bounce, but I'm really focused more on this confluent level of support down below, which is the bottom of the golden pocket into the daily naked point of control, into the POC of the macro range. So again, if we come on down here, we can't hold these levels. We can look to go to 72K. Once you lose that, this is really where we want to see, this is definitely a more significant level than $72,000. Again, I can't say that this isn't going to get respected, but in my opinion, when you have those, you really want to focus when you're trading on those more confluent levels where you have more than one key level coming into one area, right? That's where you have the highest probability of a reaction. Again, not impossible to bounce off of just like a solo level, but when you have those confluent levels, it does make for a much higher probability of a bounce or a rejection, depending on whether you're looking at resistance or support, right? So if we do lose that level, looking down towards 72K, right, we melt through that is kind of my anticipation, right? I will be monitoring the reaction there if we come down there, but if we get down below that $72,000 level, sitting right here, guys, blue box between $70,227 all the way down to $67,270, which is where that POC lies. And then honorable mention, we have that weekly naked point of control at $65,800. Now, I'm not necessarily anticipating this to happen tomorrow, but I want you guys to be aware of those levels, right? Like the high, again, like I can cover, and I will cover the lower time frame levels as well, but instead of covering every single nitty gritty 5-minute Fibonacci retracement, right? I want to show you guys the big key levels. So 76.5 to 75K, and then really between 72 and 68K is that next major zone of support, right? These are the two major levels of support that you want, or major zones of support that you want to have on your chart in case we get big moves. Now, level number 3, guys, we're just dishing out the levels and handing them over to you, just here you go, right? If we do get a move up, right? And again, we're going to cover the local levels. We could be looking for trades up here, potentially for another move down. How we see these moves play out is going to be a little bit, we're going to have to go to the lower time frames for that. But in my opinion, guys, if we look for setups up here, if we're able to catch a short position to get a move down to 75K, over time, right? Again, I'm not expecting this to happen tomorrow, but with the 2-day money flow, right? Like whether we get a bigger retracement, right? Or we get a little retracement, I do think, right? Like with the 2-day money flow coming out, with the daily money flow still tanking to the downside, 3-day money flow also coming out here as well, right? It's tried to come up many a times, but generally remember with the money flow, guys, trend and direction is what you're looking at, right? When you see money flow making lower highs, right? This is telling you that money is leaving the asset, right? So that could show you that, hey, that's what makes us think those lower highs and lower lows are going to come in. But I do think that's going to take some time, right? I don't know if it's just going to be like one, red candle down to those levels. But in the long term, something like whether it's like this or just like this, right? Like these levels are definitely the next key levels of support to be looking at, right? So to the upside, right? Obviously, we have some local levels, but I am just going to say, really, when we're looking at the confluence here, the real big levels, in my opinion, are going to be up here towards the point of control of the upper range. And I know this is very far away. It's probably going to take us some time to get up there as well, unless the FOMC just winds up giving us that Lambo candle. But, big level here, which is the full golden pocket 7/8 or golden pocket retracement when pulled from the absolute all-time high to our current low here. That golden pocket is in perfect confluence with our POC of the range, as well as an honorable mention here. Not only do we have a daily naked point of control up there, we also have 2 daily levels. Right now the chart's starting to get a little cluttered. I'll kind of take these off the chart so you can just see what is confluent up in here. We have a daily level, right? 2 daily horizontals, right on the POC and right at the top of that golden pocket. And then we also have a weekly level right on top of that daily, right? So we have daily, weekly, daily, golden pocket, POC. That's 5 key levels in one spot. This is a huge confluent level of resistance, right? And to be honest, previously it was also very confluent with this anchored VWAP, which has now changed as price action developed. This has come down a little bit. So just so you guys know, this is the next biggest key level of resistance. It doesn't mean that we have to come up there, right? It does not mean that we can't come up here and reject from here, right? There's other levels that we have to look at, but on the higher time frames, these are the bigger levels, right? And this does start at about 96,200, 96,300, all the way up here to about 98.8K. So if we do come up there, these are just levels, right? And again, they are going to take, in my opinion, probably a good amount of time to get hit, but you want to mark these off on your level, right? Set some alerts. If you're out and you're not on the charts and you get maybe you're not even a full-time, you're not full-time in crypto, you're not spending all day on the charts, like you walk away for days at a time, you could potentially just go ahead and put those on your chart, set some alerts, whatever you're doing, beep, beep, beep. right? Check your trading view. Oh my God, we're hitting a major key level. And then you could dive into the price action and kind of see what is going on here. Are you getting bearish confirmations? Is money flow still coming out? Are you looking for shorts to smack that thing back to the downside? Or, you'll assess the situation and make your decisions once you get up there and analyze the price. So key level number 1 to the downside, $76,500 to $75,000. We lose that between 72 and 68K about is going to be that next key level to the downside. And then level number 3 is going to be that resistance level above. And again, we are going to go over the local levels. You might be saying like, well, Frankie, if we're not coming up there tomorrow, why the heck are we even looking at these? Well, I just want you to be prepared with those higher time frame levels. And like I've been saying, right, like I am kind of sticking more towards these scalp trades, right? The day trades, jumping in, grabbing my bag and jumping out. For the most part, right, if I wasn't doing that, I'd kind of be sitting on my hands to get these bigger levels tapped. So just keep these on your chart and be aware that they are sitting there. Just maybe set some alerts. Shout out to Flatsmack said, should we short the bottom? Shout out to Flatsmack. Please, for the love of God, do not short the bottom, especially for like swing trades, right? Like I would not, the shorts to be had, right? And I've already closed most of my shorts, or all of my shorts actually. But yeah, the shorts were to be had up here. 102K, which is where I was short from, and then we were also short in the premium, from 102K, and then also, about 98K. These were the shorts that we took, and we enjoyed that nice drop to the downside, and I have now closed those in full for nice profit. The only trade I hold right now is a local long position, which I will talk about in just a second. Actually, we'll get into that right now. So those are the high time frame levels that you guys have to be aware of in case we get a big move to the upside or the downside. Those are the big levels, right? Those are the, oh my God, please bounce from here levels, or reject from here levels, which I guess we wouldn't be begging for rejections here. We would hope that we could just smash through here, but just be aware, guys. And remember, if we get a big retracement, and again, I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow, but if and when we get that big retracement, just understand everybody's going to be super bullish here, and I will be bullish cautiously, right? I will be cautiously bullish. Like, okay, this is great. We're getting a move up. This is really nice. But we know with money flow coming out, if we get bearish confirmations here, we know that short, obviously we'd be looking at key support down below to take some profit, maybe the value area low at 91K. But if that money flow is continuing out, it could just be a macro lower high for a massive drop to the downside, which could then bring us down into this zone, right? It's very hard to say if and when these levels will get hit. And there's a million different scenarios that we could see play out before we get down here, right? Are we going to go for a full retracement and then come down here, right? Or are we going to come down here, then up there, then down there, right? There's a million different scenarios. And the way I'm playing this right now is, again, I'm just scalping this range and waiting for the bigger key levels to react off of, right? I'm not just trying to call the low here to long this to 100K, right? But either way, those are the big levels, right? So I'll end that there. Those are the simple key levels. Mark them off on your chart. Make sure you have your alerts set in case we do come up and tap those. Again, tomorrow, not really expecting those to get hit, but, set those alerts, and then, they can live there invisibly, and then you don't have to pay attention as much to the charts for the bigger time frames. Now, if we come to the lower time frames, if you got tuned into the live stream last night, you will know that we were looking at some major volume profiles. We had our day trade range here sitting between about 83,500 and 91,500. And as price action bing bongs its way here, slams its head on this resistance, right? We didn't know if we were going to come up here, flip this to support, come up to the golden pocket POC, and then potentially up to the high, or if we were gonna, the sticky situation here, guys, was that we had two volume profiles stacked right on top of each other, right? You had the larger day trade range, and then you also had this range down below, which has now changed a little bit as I've pulled it to our current price action. The one we were looking at yesterday was more pulled like this, right? So I've actually taken it off the chart, so I'll just have to redraw it here, right? So this was the range. These are the two ranges that we were looking at yesterday, and the question was, are we going to get up here, right? Hold it as support and then come up, or should we be looking at this as a potential short opportunity, as it is technically a deviation above the value area high for a potential return back into the range, lose the POC, go back down to the value area low. So obviously we wound up getting the rejection, and shout out to the premium Discord. I dropped some sauce in the Discord yesterday being like, hey guys, valid short setup up here. We took a look at some of the confirmations. I didn't personally take this just because there wasn't enough confirmation for me, but it was a valid short setup, and to be honest, I would have taken it if I was able to get in a little bit earlier. We even talked about this on the live stream, right? We had low time frame, bearish divergences, we had some money flow coming out, but there were also like a decent amount of things pointing against this, right? We had the 8-hour green dot with the 30-minute money flow crossing over into the green, and that would have supported, it just wasn't a clear enough signal for me to personally take the short, but it was a valid short setup. And we did. We looked to lose the value area high, get stuck in here, and then look to go to the POC. And right now, we're hanging out below that point of control. But I'm going to talk about the current profile that I'm looking at right now and why we're getting a bounce here. But the thought process there was like, hey, deviation above the high, this is technically where you want to look for shorts. And if you want to take a stab here, like, to be honest, right, if I were able to get a little bit of a better entry, I would have just taken that as well, right? I would have taken that short, right? And then if we did wind up coming up, that 8-hour, 30-minute market cipher B 116 strategy, if it did wind up playing out, would have stopped out for a small loss. And the long from down here would have continued to pay us out, right? Small loss, and then this would be up massively at that point, right? But I just sat that one out, but got the setup into the Discord. Thank God. I love, even if I don't take the setup, I like to have them in there in the premium Discord. So, if people do want to take a shot, they can kind of know my thoughts on where I think it would go, right? And then at that point, you're looking to lose the value area high, get stuck up in here, go to the POC. That would be your take profit one, lose the POC. Then you could start to potentially begin your journey down to the value area low. And at this point, right, this is stop loss. Again, I am not personally in this trade. I like to be very transparent about that, right? Although it was a setup in the Discord, I did not personally take this. But at this point, right, if I were in this trade, right, I would be just like my long position, right? I am still long from down here, right? And the same way I handle all of my trades, right, or most of my trades, right, is once I hit TP, I'm locking in profits, moving my stop loss to break even, right? And then if it decides to continue to play out, I can squeeze that for more profit. If it stops me out, I get stopped out for decent profit, right? So I make money either way, right? This would kind of be the same situation, right? So I'd be looking at this and once you get below the value area high, you go to the POC, lose the POC. We could potentially be on our way to this value area low. However, I'm going to bring up our new range and why, maybe we don't get a move all the way down there. But at that point, right, this is stop loss to break even. You've already either taken profit at the value area high and the POC, or just profit at the POC, stop loss to break even. And if we do wind up getting the bounce here and slam up into this higher profile, you get stopped out in profit and your long pays out, right? But if you want to let it ride and see if it could move down to the value area low, you can just go ahead and leave that open, not only risk-free, but literally as a guaranteed winning trade. So that's kind of the thought process there. We got the drop back down. We did not get accepted. And you might say to yourself, well, Frankie, what about that 8-hour market cipher B 116 strategy? Well, you can see here in this choppy price action, we had that green dot print, and it just got instantly swallowed by that next red dot on market cipher B, right? So, and this is why I've been saying a lot with the market cipher B 116 strategies, just in this market condition, in a choppy condition, right? Like, it's a little bit, you have to not take them with a grain of salt, but potentially just kind of treat them with care, right? Like, you're not going to be like, I wouldn't be betting super heavy on them, right? But you are just using it as kind of, an additional piece of information to kind of like help you come to your conclusion on what you think is going to happen next. So there you go, right? Faked us out there with the market cipher B 116 strategy, but we wound up just seeing the scenario B play out, where you get stuck back in the range and you start working your way through the volume profile. Hey, shout out to Captain Kirk. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you so much, Cap. Said, I want y'all to know my life is better with y'all in it. Thank you for being here, Mafia fam. Love you all. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Thank you for being the CandleMafia mama. We appreciate you. And thank you for being so nice to the CandleMafia. Let's go, baby. You guys make my life so much better as well. Shout out to Cap. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We love you, mama. Shout out to Uncle Jesse. Yeah, let's go. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you being the CandleMafia mama. Everybody loves you, Cap. Everybody loves you. Show some love to Captain Kirk, CandleMafia mama, in the chat right now, guys. Let's see. We are all family because my everyone's names are quickly saved in my suggestion words. Jesse, Pennywise, Rob, Kirk, Jay Violet. Let's go. Shout out to Nick Dunn. I love that. I love that. And guys, don't forget to smash the like button. I realized I said do not. I didn't say smash the like button once yesterday. Smash that like button, guys. We're going to go for 1,000 likes on tonight's live stream. I don't know if we're going to get it in this sideways price action, but let's go for it. Let's go for it, baby. But yeah, let's continue on real quick. So yeah, that's kind of the thought process. This range is still technically here, guys, right? Like, this is still technically a range. However, when we extend this over to our current price action, you can see we have come down to our current value area low of the range. And I actually have this marked out in a separate folder. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up really quickly. Here it is, right? So this is our current range. It's the same range we were looking at, just pulled to the current price action. And when we take a look at this, guys, I will say, we had come down here and I actually let the premium know as we were coming down here. We actually just started to bounce just a little bit. We saw some bullish CVD down here, and with this current volume profile, having the value area low at about $81,227, just saying like, hey guys, we got bullish CVD down here. We could potentially see a little bit of a bounce from this level, and if it doesn't wind up giving us the big move all the way back up to the high, right? At this point, if we are going to bounce here with that bullish CVD, again, we have the 15-minute money flow trying to work its way to the upside. 4-hour green dot is potentially looking to print somewhat soon. So maybe we do see that money flow crossover. If we're going to get a full push up here, these are kind of the levels I'm expecting to get respected soon, right? Like maybe tomorrow during FOMC, like maybe we get the push up here and beyond, or maybe we get the dump down below here and beyond. But these are kind of the more tangible, relevant levels for the local price action. So, if we're going to get the bigger move up, next key level would be the POC at about $83,100, value area high at $84,381. And, if we're going to get that bigger move up, the 15-minute money flow is kind of what I would be looking at in sync with the 4-hour green dot printing to see if we're going to get the full fill of that profile. If it does, I am going to see that long position to continue to pay us out to that value area high. And if not, unfortunately, I'm not in the short position, as I just said, but everybody who took that in the premium would be able to see the, older value area low that I just saw, that I just pulled up here, get hit to pay that out to final TP. And if we come up, long pays us out, and the shorts get stopped in profit, right? So not a bad situation to be in. But again, I would even recommend, like, if you're in trades right now, guys, I don't want to tell I can't tell you what to do with your trades. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just some crazy guy screaming on YouTube. You shouldn't just listen to crazy people on YouTube. But I will say this, me personally, right? Like, I'm kind of tempted to just like close my position, walk away with my profits, and just let tomorrow happen, right? Like that way we could just kind of watch the volatility and have some fun, and maybe trade it, maybe actually trade it in real time. But other than that, like, I would be careful, right? Because almost every single FOMC, guys, we see that whipsaw action, right? Like stop out the shorts, stop out the longs, and then sometimes we just continue to go sideways. So they are probably gonna get stopped out. A lot of people are gonna get wrecked tomorrow, in my own personal opinion. Not even just the people trading the volatility, but people holding positions, right? Like you might just be like, let's assume we're long here, right? And then we get a push up and it's like, oh my God, this is great. You might want to, lock in some profits and protect yourself, because FOMC maybe no more profit for you, and then shorts from up here, no more profit for you, and then maybe we just bing bong back around in the range, right? So just be careful tomorrow. Tomorrow's probably going to be pretty crazy, but those are the key levels, right? If we continue up, again, I would be watching that 15-minute money flow crossover into the green. If we get it, I'd be looking for a push up into the POC, $83,109. Flip that POC to support. We're looking up towards the value area high at $84,384. Now, another thing to note here, guys, we do have a lot of liquidity sitting above this wick right here at about $85,250. So just keep in mind, right, that liquidity could potentially act as a magnet for price. So that is another thing. If that 15-minute money flow crosses over, we start to break out of this value area high, we could look to come sweep some of that liquidity. So just keep that in mind as well. And again, that wick comes in at about $85,283. Let me see if I could pull up the actual liquidation heat map for you guys so I can show it to you. Excuse me. Let me go ahead and refresh this. Come on. Give me the updated chart, baby. There we are. 84. Let's see. Or I'm sorry, 85. Bada boom, bada bing, right? So you do see that liquidity sitting up here. Stretch that out just a little bit, right? Right above this wick, $85,200. You do have all those hot spots of liquidity. Could act as a magnet for price. But, I would kind of be leaning on that a little bit more as we creep our way up there, right? It doesn't mean necessarily we have to shoot up there because the liquidity is there. But if we do creep our way through that profile, just understand, once you get up here, could be like, let's go take out that liquidity, right? Especially on a day like tomorrow, it's very important to understand where that liquidity sits, because a lot of times the liquidity gets swept on FOMC day. So, if we wind up coming up here and FOMC is happening, just be aware that they might want to grab that liquidity maybe before a bigger dump to the downside, or maybe we just kind of fly, right? But again, I wouldn't necessarily anticipate anything too crazy to the upside tomorrow, based off, I think with the 99% likelihood of they're just not going to cut rates, right? Like I would it's probably priced into the market in my opinion, right? So it's probably just going to be one of those volatility, right? You get the volatility in the meeting, and then we kind of just like bing bong around, and then it just continues in the direction that it wanted to go in a more normal fashion. Again, unless we get some kind of like surprise and they're like, we're actually going to cut rates, then maybe you could expect those Lambo candles to the upside. But other than that, right, these are the key levels, guys. That is the local range that we will be watching. Now, again, down here, I do want to talk about some of the confluence we have. Value area low, $81,200 essentially. And if we pull up our daily, right, we do have a daily level down here that just barely got front ran. Let me just check on the Binance chart. BTC, where are we at? What is this? Yeah, 81,219. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So we do still have a naked daily down here sitting at about, not a net in POC, but a naked horizontal daily level at $81,041, right? So if we pull up the weekly as well, we have a weekly down here sitting at about $80,681. So for me personally, I would just be looking at things in terms of this range, right? If we came up here, get up to the value area high, deviate above, this is where we could potentially look for another short position, back into the range, back to the POC, back down to the low. If we do come back down here, I would be interested in potentially looking for scalp longs back into the POC, back to the value area high, right? Just simple volume profile trades. This is how we trade the profiles. We come down below that volume profile. That's where we're looking at as an oversold asset or a cheap asset, just like it was down here when we caught that long position back to the upside, right? And yesterday when we saw that kind of wonky short position, which did wind up playing out as we came back to the downside, right? This is how we trade the volume profiles. It gives us very, very high probability reactions, not only off key levels, but very high probability roadmaps to where price is likely to go next. So, if we continue down, these are going to be key levels down below that I would be paying attention to, and I'm just going to be trading this as a local range. Now, if we do, we're going to kind of be in another sticky situation, guys. I can't lie. If we come into the day trade range again, here's the thing, right? If we do wiggle up here and we start popping up here, maybe we sweep that liquidity. Sure, we could look on deviations above this volume profile, right? Meaning the lower volume profile down here, right? On the deviation above this range, we can look for shorts, just like yesterday when you see the low time frame bear divs, right? Looking to come back into the range, go back down to the low, which obviously the low back yesterday was a little lower here. But, again, you just have to be careful if you're trading that local range. Just understand you have this upper volume profile above you. So if you do get up here, right, and you take some potential short positions, right, just understand if you catch a high enough entry, right, you do have the value area low sitting here, right? So value area high sitting at 84,340. That's going to probably give you some kind of a bounce. But this value area low sitting at $83,500, I would probably be logging in some profits here, because if we get accepted back into this range for the bigger move up, you want to be prepared for that, and you don't want to get stopped out at a loss, right? Unless you do just want to kind of risk it for the biscuit and make sure you take a controlled loss with a small stop loss, or just a controlled, at least 1 to 2, at most 1 to 2% of your account. Just make sure you're taking a controlled loss and not just like kind of holding on here, hoping this is going to go to zero. You have to understand the context of the market, right? Like this whole zone is very, very tricky, and I'm glad I looked at this yesterday, because yesterday we had some signs saying that we could potentially get a move up, right? Which is why I kind of sat out the short position, even though we did have the context and the setup in the premium, right? But what happened, right? That setup got stepped on. We came back down to the low, right? But very likely, right, or it's very possible that you do hold support on that value area low and continue up, right? And that's okay, right? I missed out on that short. Am I tripping? Absolutely not, right? Like I'm just going to catch the next trade, right? It's no big deal. But just understand, when you get back up here, it's going to be the same kind of sticky situation. Like, are we going to get back down into the range and go down, or are we going to come up here, flip this to support, and come up? So, you can take shots just like yesterday. Just make sure you're protecting yourself in case you do get that to turn against you. And obviously, once we're up here, you could kind of identify, is there, back here, we had the market cipher B 8-hour, 30-minute, 116 strategy, bullish setup, kind of going against us. Maybe we don't have that up here. Maybe it just looks bearish, right? And then you could take a more confident short. But I want to make sure you guys understand the situation up there. This is a little bit of a sticky kind of box that we have up here because the value area low and the value area high are so close to each other like that, right? So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Looking for the resistance here. Flip that out. We could look to come up to the POC value area high if we get a bigger move up. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And just to kind of point out here, guys, this anchored VWAP pulled from our previous high here at about $95,000. This anchored VWAP does look like if we come up here, it's probably going to wiggle its way down, which could give us a nice little backup resistance level to look at for a potential short setup back to the downside. So there you go. That is pretty much what I'm looking at locally. Pretty much the same exact ranges, other than the fact that I pulled this to the current price action. That's pretty much what we're looking at. We'll see if we can get this continuation to the upside. If we do come back down, key support down here at the weekly daily value area low, we lose that. This is where we have to be very, very careful, right? Because again, we still have our key 786 Fibonacci retracement here in confluence with our daily level. We start to lose this level, guys. This is where I think, right, if you can't hold this daily, which by the way sits at 78,578, we lose this, right? This is where I think we go for the bigger level of support down below, right, that I talked about earlier today. The bigger levels of support, right, down to the daily and the weekly between 76.5 and 75K. Right. So that's what I'm looking at, guys. Those are the key levels. We'll see if we're just going to be scalping this range until it breaks. And, if and when it does break either to the upside or to the downside, we are very likely going to be short from the highs or long from the lows, the way we trade these profiles. So that's what I'm looking at, guys. And those are the big key levels. The three biggest key levels are more on the higher time frames, right? The ones I went over right in the beginning of the stream. keep those on your chart, because if you're looking for the big moves, the big bounces, the potential buy the dip scenarios for your spot bags, those are going to be the bigger levels I'm looking at. And again, the resistance levels to the upside being the macro POC, golden pocket, daily, weekly, 2 dailies and the weekly. This could be that situation, guys. If we come up here and money flow still looks like garbage, depending on if we come up here before coming and taking this level or not, again, just understand, if we come up here and money flow still looks like garbage, this is a very big level, because this is pulled from the all-time high to the current low. This would be a high probability area. If you are in the camp that you think the bear market is here and you think it's all over, which, by the way, I don't fall in that camp, right? I could be wrong. I don't fall in that camp. But if you think the bear market is here and we get a retracement up here, that is not the time to flip bullish for you if you think the bear market is here. Again, I don't think that, right? But either way, whether you think the bear market is here or not, if you do, more specifically, this is going to be an important level, because if you want to get out of your spot bags, right, and you want to risk it and say, I want to get out, right, this might be the place to do it, right? Not financial advice, right, because we do have some upper levels here too, right? 786 value area high between 102 and 103K. It's another big level, and the next big resistance level, if you don't put a lower high in here, you could put it in at that 786. So if you think the bear market's here and we rally up, this is not the time to get bullish, right? This is the time to be like, okay, retrace, let me get out of my bags. And then if you think it's the bear market, you would anticipate a massive drop to the downside for a 4-year cycle bear market. Again, full disclosure, I do not fall in that camp. Could it be true? Could you be right? Absolutely, right? I'm not saying I'm 100% right all the time, but I don't fall in that camp. So yeah, maybe, right? Anything can happen here, guys, right? Like maybe we come up here, right, at some point, and then we come back down. And like, maybe we come down then to test between 70 and 68K. That doesn't even necessarily mean it's the bear market just yet. You could potentially bing bong around and then eventually take off, right? There's just not enough on the chart here for me to call for a certain bear market. Could it be possible? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit up here and be like, you're an idiot if you think it's the bear market, right? I would never say that. But for me personally, I understand that, we talked about this a lot recently. When a new administration comes in and shakes up everything like they are right now, it's going to cause pain for the markets. And if we want to see those rates cut and we want to see that looser monetary policy, which again is a condition that has been met in every other massive bull market, and we need that. It's a condition that's met for every single alt season as well, right? So, I do think that could be on the cusp, right? I do think we can still see that, but we just might need to give them max pain, whether that is already in here or if we have to come back down here or even come down and test those, oh my God, please bounce, oh my God, please don't start the bear market levels, which would be the previous highs here. But from a chart perspective, from a market structure perspective, at least for Bitcoin, right, like we are still above these highs. We can come down and test those before going back off into new all-time highs. And until that winds up getting broken, that's really where I'm like, yeah, that's where I think we could potentially come down deeper. But it's just not as black and white to just be like, that's it, we're down, 30%, whatever it is. Yeah, 30%, right? Like that's not enough to call for a bear market. We see 30% pullbacks all the time. But, just because I don't think the bear market is here does not mean I don't think we can see more pain. I indeed do think we could potentially see more pain. I just don't think it means a four-year cycle bear market. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Paper Beats Rock says the 4-year cycle is over. Yeah, I mean, listen, the 4-year cycle is only so useful. Number one, it's only so useful. It's only useful to a degree, right? And then number two, the 4-year cycle eventually is just going to completely change or just completely go away, right? Like you're not going to be able to go based off that information for so long. And I don't really think, right? Like it's been so dang accurate for so long that it's like you have to anticipate this not to play out perfectly every cycle, right? I've actually mentioned this before where it's like, are we just going to see the cycle continue to play out? That would be great if it does, but it's like, it's just too predictable at this point, especially with the big boy money in now. They don't want, we're not necessarily going to see those super easy, predictable, like, all right, Bitcoin topped out, we're going sideways, here comes the alt season, right? Like, it's never that easy, right? And especially the more these cycles go on, the more they're going to change, and eventually it's going to completely change, right? And, it's just going to be it's just as the asset matures, these 4-year cycles are only going to be so useful. And I would 100% agree with that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It ain't over till it's over. Shout out to Jets. And here's the thing, right? If you guys are out there and you're feeling down and you really feel like you got scammed this bull market and you didn't make money, like I said, you have to have a long-term outlook, right? Like any get-rich-quick scheme, right? A lot of people get rich quick in crypto. You can make a lot of money really fast in crypto. I'm sure there's tons of people in the mafia right now that can attest to that, right? I've made a ton of money really fast. A lot of people have, right? And it's definitely possible. But it's, just understand, right? If we do go in a 4-year bear market, right? Like, you want to have a long-term outlook, right? Like I said, right? Like if we come down, I have a 10-year investment outlook, right? Like I don't mind holding my assets that I actually believe in, Bitcoin, Ethereum, hopefully, my actual blue chips, right? Like I'm fine holding that long-term, right? Now, not that I would want to round trip it completely, but just understand, right? Like, you have to have a long-term outlook, right? Like everybody, and again, I try to like ease the tension, right? When like we get a big drop to the downside, and hopefully watching these YouTube live streams, you guys can see, get out of here, malware bites, Jesus. But hopefully watching these live streams over and over and over again and checking in on the price action and seeing that we are looking for a potential drop to 80K when we're up here, hopefully that kind of like lightens the blow, right? And gives you a little bit of foresight of like what could potentially happen and why I don't really freak out on these drops, right? We've been anticipating this all the way back since December. Like, hey guys, we could easily get a retracement into this golden pocket 786 zone before coming back up, right? And at the end of the day, technically, we could even come down to these highs before coming back up. So, from a technical perspective, I don't think it's over until the, I don't know, fat lady sings. I don't know. But there you go, guys. That's what I'm looking at. Let's see. What broker do I use? I trade mostly on Blowfin and Femex. You can check them out. Links in the description down below. Obviously, local regulation will probably depend on which one is available by you. But yeah, those are the ones that I like to use. Let's see. People want to be digital. People want it to be digital gold, and it will be making 100% move in 2 years one day. Yeah, shout out to Daniel T. It's like, yeah, I mean, I do think, right, like, it's just crazy, right? Like, this market is so emotional. It's insane, right? Like, and it's like, I anticipated this, right? This did not scare me at all, right? Now, and I even say on the live streams, right? Like, I even talk about this, like, publicly, like, everybody's gonna be freaking out, guys, if this happens. Imagine if we get a move. Like, I could probably find 100 clips of me saying on the live stream, guys, imagine if we do get a move down here, how bearish people are gonna be and how crazy the sentiment's gonna be. We get the move down, and everybody's like, oh my God, is the bear market here? And it's like, it's kind of a loaded question, right? Because, like, I don't have a crystal ball. I swear I don't. Don't call the FBI. Anyway, in my opinion, no. This is not enough to say the bear market is in. Technically, is it possible? Absolutely, right? It's possible for it to be the bear market. It's also possible for this thing to rip up to $1 million tomorrow, right? Like, nothing's impossible. I guess, I don't know. I'd probably bet my life on that not being the case. But it's like when it comes to these like realistic situations, like it's very hard to just be like, yeah, it's 100% the bear market. If it was that easy, right? Like there's no way it's ever going to be that easy, right? This is not how trading, it's not how investing works, it's not how markets move, right? And again, it's not just the charts, right? It's also like the macroeconomic situation, right? Like if we wind up, right, think about this. This is why I say be very careful, right? Or I should say this is why I'm being very careful, right? Because if we do break down to 70K, right, and potentially come down to the PLC around 68K with the daily, right? This is where people are like, oh my God, it can't get any worse. This is over. Oh my God, right? And then like, what is that? That is max pain. What could that cause? Let's cut those rates. Boom. And then you wind up selling the bottom. I'm not willing to do that, right? Now, you have to make your own financial decisions. Nobody knows 100% where this thing's going to go. We have a pretty good track record, right? We have a really good track record at that. But, just understand that. Same thing in 2020. Like, oh, my God, boom, right? A lot of people. And to be honest, this was like an even worse situation because I'm not necessarily anticipating something this aggressive. But, like, you have to understand. This was a very real thing, right? We all know what was happening here. I don't want to say it because I don't know if YouTube likes it, but, this is a very real thing, right? Like, this was like people locked in their house. Oh my God, like people dropping in the streets. Like, this was like got real for a minute, right? Or was real, right? And you start thinking to yourself, like, well, hey, like the world is ending. What if this is like an apocalyptic event? Like, I need my money, right? So, like, I don't even really like say I don't really blame a lot of people for this, but when you look at things from like a money perspective, it's like you just start to look at this stuff. It's like, okay, like, all right, we're getting massive pain here. Everybody's scared. Probably a good buy the dip situation. But, a lot of people needed money in this point. A lot of jobs, a lot of people were losing their jobs, all that stuff. So, this was a very real world thing. Like, this was like real tangible stuff that was happening in people's lives, which makes it a very difficult situation to navigate, right? But just understand, right? Like, oh my God, it's all over. Max pain, bing bong, right to the all-time highs, right? Bull run, baby. So yeah, I mean, we are in a different situation here, right? Bitcoin has been on an absolute tear for quite some time now. So it is a different situation, but it's just kind of like similar as in, if we see max pain, right? Like, we're going to look back at this and be like, oh yeah, remember this was like not black swan, but it's like, remember they were doing all the tariff stuff. Oh my God, this was horrible. And then, look at all these people that were selling the bottom, right? So think about that, right? Like, and again, you know, this was a massive move, right? This was a 64% move. In order to see that, this would have to bring us all the way down. I mean, 64. I mean, that's 38 grand, right? Like, if we go back down to 38K, you know, is it a bear market? I mean, some people would consider this a short-term bear market, right? But when I mention a bear market, I'm talking about a traditional Bitcoin bear market where you spend a good amount of time at the lows, somewhat in time with the cycles, right? Like, although the cycles will change and they're not going to be as reliable moving forward as the institutions come in, as the real money comes in, as the asset just matures in general and the market cap goes up, like these bull runs and these 4-year cycles are going to change over time and eventually, in my opinion, be useless, you know, in the future. But, you know, I do still think you could use part of the 4-year cycle to kind of figure this stuff out, right? But you just don't want to rely solely on that, right? If it's like, oh my God, like we still can make an all-time high, right? Because it's, you know, the 4-year cycle says it's going to happen on this date. That is not how the markets move, guys. Just because, you know, we typically top out at this time, you know, in the year after the halving, right? You can use that as information to, you know, give you a more educated estimation of what you think will happen next. But at the end of the day, right, it doesn't matter if you usually top out on these months or this month is usually a bearish month or a bullish month for Bill. But look at February, right? Like February was supposed to be a bullish month, right? Like you see all these people saying like, oh, February is usually a bullish month for Bitcoin. So like that's when all season's going to start, right? But it's like you look at the macroeconomic situation and you're like, no. It doesn't matter if Bitcoin was bullish most Februarys, right? Like we're just not in that situation, right? So like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So, you know, again, when it comes to the 4-year cycles, you could try to use, you know, things like that to estimate where price is going to go, but you can't just make your decisions based off it, right? So, like, a lot of people are saying that, you know, like we still have a lot of time. Usually the all-time, you know, usually the all-time high comes in X days after the bottom or X days after the halving, right? This is something you can look at, and it's a metric that you can, you know, take into your analysis, but you can't just go off of that, right? There's a lot of people out there telling their audience like, oh, well, we're nowhere near where we usually top out. We are in a different situation. What do you mean? That doesn't mean it's just necessarily going to happen like that, and maybe it does, right? It's not to say that it can't, but you know. If we do not have the loose monetary policy, right? Like it doesn't matter if Bitcoin usually tops out later. And it's like, oh, we still have a lot of time before the top comes in. That doesn't mean anything, right? Like if we never get the loose monetary policy, which in my opinion is, you know, it's going to come. But when it comes is the tricky thing, right? You know, it might be a while. Maybe something crazy happens. Maybe, you know, it winds up being a while, right? At that point, like all those dates go out the window. And at the end of the day, there is a possibility, right? Like I said, even though I don't fall in this camp, right? Like if we don't see everything, if we don't see the looser monetary policy, it could be the top, right? Again, I don't fall in that camp, but just kind of pointing, like even if it goes against what I think, right? You can't just base it off the cycles or timing or months where Bitcoin has been bullish in the past, right? Like, you know, it's like if March is usually a bullish month for Bitcoin, which I don't know this to be true or not, right? It's like, okay, well, yeah, it's a bullish month. March is usually really bullish. And then like you have something like C19. It's like, it doesn't matter, right? You have to pay attention to what's actually going on at the current time, right? Like the situation we were in the world here is completely different than over here, which was also completely different than over here and also completely different over here. Obviously, Bitcoin does move in cycles. This is kind of undeniable, right? Up until this point. But institutions, the asset just maturing in general, and again, outside forces, macroeconomic forces, right? If we get the looser monetary policy to come in soon and we make a new all-time high, that would be pretty in line with the previous cycles, right? It'd be like, okay, well, like, you know, this would be a left translated cycle, meaning the top came in a lot earlier in the cycle than it typically does, right? So, you know, but that doesn't mean that it is not the top, right? It's a very difficult thing to do. So just be careful with these like, you know, novelty, like, oh, like the top is definitely, you know, top is going to come in on this date of this year. It's like, you have to understand what's going on during that time to estimate what actually moves the price. You have to understand what actually moves the price, right? So there you go. That's it. I don't want to cover any of the longer time frame stuff. We've been talking a lot about this, but we covered the local levels, guys. I'm going to try to go into some altcoins. Hey, shout out to CT. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Said, bro, whatever happened to Crypto Kirby? Why does that? Crypto Kirby. That sounds really familiar. I'm sure I know who that is. Is that like an old school crypto influencer? Crypto Kirby. 2021. Okay, yeah, so I guess it was an old content creator. I thought I was going to recognize him, but I don't. Interesting. I definitely know the name. I've heard Crypto Curvy a million times. I guess he's probably a big influencer. Let's see. You know what doesn't change, though? Tax loss harvesting. Yo, shout out to Wig 589. Summertime sadness. It's on summertime. Shout out to the Wig 589. That's actually a banger. Shout out to the Wig 589. Let's see. Lars said, waiting for the juicy M2 money to find its way to crypto. Frankie, all-time high coming soon. Shout out to Lars. Yeah, I just think I kind of agree. Saying soon is kind of like, what is soon? Is soon tomorrow? Next week, next month, 2 months from now, 5 months from now, who knows, right? But I'm not about timing the exact top or the exact bottom, right? A lot of people think, TA is... shout out to Tony D says, nah, Kirby is a little pink blob. Shout out to Tony D. Coming up on 1 hour. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate you. Thank you for keeping me updated on that. BTC has no top as it keeps going up, and fiat has no bottom. Yeah, shout out to Native. That's the thing, right? Like, at the end of the day, for me, right? For me, not for everybody else, right? People who bought up here in a different situation, people who bought here in a different situation, people who bought here in a different situation. For me personally, right? And even if you bought where I bought, you might still be in a different situation. Maybe you need that money to buy your family food or whatever it is, right? For me personally, with the capital I have allocated to crypto, if this thing, you can't scare me out of Bitcoin unless something super crazy happens where it's like, we found out who Satoshi is and it's not good. That's different, right? Or quantum computers hacked Bitcoin. That's different, right? Which, who knows when or if that'll ever happen. But anything short of like something like that, which is like a crypto Bitcoin-centric black swan event that could kill the asset in general, which again, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon at least, right? Unless it's something like that. And Bitcoin goes down to 50K and we sweep the liquidity below 50K and it goes back down to 30K, right? Worst case scenario, I'm going to buy more because I have a 10-year outlook on crypto. In 2030 and 2035, Bitcoin is very likely to be much above these prices, right? And we've covered this so many times on so many dumps on this channel, so many pumps on this channel, and every time it's scary. But every time, even if you have to wait, right? Like we said the same thing back here. If we went into the when we were going into the bear market, it's like, guys, listen, I know it's scary, but just understand, you hold long enough, you will be back up to higher prices. And it feels impossible when you're bing-bonging around here for, let's call it for over a year down here, right? And then eventually you see the light of day and you're like, oh my God, we made it. And it's like glorious and it brings a tear to your eye, right? And that is going to keep happening as long as Bitcoin doesn't get like hacked or something, right? Or, something crazy doesn't happen. Other than that, right, like little exchanges going down, regulation, all that stuff, like Bitcoin is going up and to the right over time. People have been saying this before I was ever even in crypto, right? People say it's just up to the right, right? And it is true. And I've been through many, many scary dumps, right? Bear market of 2018. Bear market of, not bear market, but, the 2020 dump, right? We've been through all this. I covered this live on the show, right? Live on the YouTube channel, right? And every time it's back up and to the right. It's back up to the right, right? So yeah, I just don't think the bear market's here just yet. And if it is, I have a 10-year outlook, so I'm not really worried about it, right? So yeah, unless Bitcoin goes to zero, then that would be really bad for me. But anyway, let's see. Shout out to Chemistry Bro said, I don't even know why it would really matter who Satoshi was. Doesn't change what Bitcoin is regardless. Shout out to Chembro. Yeah, that's a good point, right? Like, you'd probably shake a lot of people out of the market like, oh my God, but as long as they can't change the code still, like, it should be good, right? I would agree with that. Shout out to Chembro. Yeah, like who cares who created it as long as it's still Bitcoin is Bitcoin, right? Yeah, I would say probably like the biggest threat would be a hack, which... I'm not technologically advanced enough to know how far away we are from that. I think someone has a super quantum computer, but it has to be stored in absolute zero, which is like, I think we're pretty far off of that. But we'll see. Let's see. Jesse says, did everybody hit the like button? No. Do it now, please. Like 108 is mine. Smash that like button. Everybody gets a unique like smash identification number, which I don't know what it does, but it's really special to increase your profitability. Shout out to the CandleMafia. But let's see here. They can steal his wallet and sell his BTC. Yeah, I think maybe that's the worry, is like someone gets control over the wallet and they just, I don't know. Yeah, I guess, 51% attack. Yeah, that's been looming forever too. It's like, yeah, there's been like FUD about 51% attacks too. Looking forward to a peak 8x. Speaking of peak, woo, hot dang! This is not going great. Yeah, luckily, I didn't dump all in at one price. I kind of DCA'd in on the way down, and whew. Luckily, I did not anticipate this to bottom out as soon as it did. So although I DCA'd in here, guys, like I always say, like I do not always catch the perfect bottom, guys, especially for long-term spot bags. Like actually, I think I started DCAing here. DCA. I thought this was going to go lower, right? So they were smaller DCAs for me, and then this thing just ripped. Right? I was anticipating it to go much lower. So thank God, like I'm not like, in full force here. But good thing because we do have much cheaper prices here. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with peak. But taking a look at Ethereum, guys, I'm just going to kind of cover this briefly. Shout out to Wix that I also don't know what I'm talking about. Shout out to Wig 589. Yeah, I mean, listen, 51% attacks. Like, I'm not a computer expert here. Like, I'm not I don't know anything about quantum computing. I couldn't really describe to you in detail, in any kind of tangible detail, what a 51% attack is, other than people get control over 51% of the network. Other than that, like, I could be even explaining that wrong. But I just know it's very dangerous for Bitcoin if it were to happen. Shout out to Farman Hamza says, before FOMC, the Bank of Japan is expected to keep its benchmark interest rates unchanged. If the BOJ increases, market done. Yeah, shout out to that would definitely be bearish. That would be bearish if they increase. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Gordon. Let's go. Jesse bullied me into hitting the like button. Shout out to Wayne C. Let's go. Frankie, I'm scared. Shout out to Cade. Me too. I'm scared. No, I'm just kidding. I'm never scared. Literally never. Again, like that's the other thing too, guys. Like when you have a long-term outlook, it like becomes less emotional, right? Because like when you think to yourself, like, hey, I am going to invest in Bitcoin. Right? And sure, if the number on your screen is a number that you never thought you'd see, and maybe you have a short-term spot bag and then an amount of Bitcoin that you're just going to keep holding over time, when you have a long-term outlook, it's like the dumps get less scary to you. They start to look like opportunities. It is very important to start looking at the market like this if you want to be here long-term, right? That way, when you get big dumps, it's like, hey, I'll buy a little bit more. But what if you don't bottom ticket? What if you don't buy the exact bottom and it goes down lower? You don't put the whole farm. You buy a little bit, and it goes back down. You buy a little bit, right? It's what we do in the bear markets. It's what we did in this current bear market, or this recent bear market, right, in 2022, right? Like, when I bought here, I wasn't scared of buying here because it might go lower. I was anticipating it to go lower, right? And then I just buy on the way down, right? It's all about getting that average entry, right? So when I get these dumps, it's like, ooh, nice opportunity. Boom, I'm going to snag some more. Boom, I'm going to snag some more. Boom, I'm going to snag some more, right? And then you have to wait, right? Maybe you feel the short-term pain of buying in here, right? Maybe you buy here and you're like, oh my God, it's going back up. I bought at the worst time. You have to have a long-term outlook. You only bought at the worst time right here, right? Then it comes back down. You buy some more. Oh my God, I bought at the wrong time. Then you buy some more, right? And then if you do that over time, you wind up long-term, right? Zoom out some more. You basically bottom ticked it, right? Like when you look at this on a high enough time frame, it doesn't matter if you buy on these little ups and downs, right? For your long-term spot bags, pay attention to the higher time frames, right? You could stress out over your short-term positions all you want, leverage positions all you want, right? Like, but long-term, right? Like I feel really good about my spot bags, right? Like the only time I'm like freaked out about a big drop down, like what we've seen from the upper range down to 80K, or where we're at right now. The only time this freaks me out, right, which doesn't really happen very often because I just get stopped out, but if I'm like trapped in a long position, right, like if you tried to take like a low leverage long, like I've been in these situations before where you're like low leverage long, you're like, come on, baby, break out, and it just goes against you, and you think because you're in a low leverage trade that you're just 100% safe, which is never the case, guys. If you're using 2x, 3x leverage, you can still absolutely get liquidated on these big flushes, which is probably what happened here. A lot of people low leverage long and down here, right, for the massive breakout. And then they just get wrecked. So, when you have a long-term outlook, right, unless I'm in like if I was in a leverage position, right, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get wrecked. That's the only time that these little like lower time frame moves on a 16-hour would kind of affect my emotions, right? I'm not panicking about my spot bags here, right? Because it's like, if this thing goes to zero, I'll just buy more, right? And then just sit on it and wait and don't look at your spot bags. Eventually, you're going to look at your chart, look at your portfolio, and it's going to be like, oh my God, I waited long enough, and now this is up big time. I know people who bought the top of last cycle and are now up, right? And they're like, man, I'm so glad I didn't sell the bottom because now I'm up, right? Because they don't think, oh my God, I'm going to sell here and buy back lower. They're just holding it, expecting it to break out, and then this is where they want to sell it. And you're like, no, don't do that, dude. What? Don't sell the bottom, right? And then they finally wait, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I almost sold my bag here. Now I'm back in profit. Is that as good as selling the top and buying the bottom? No. But it's very, very difficult to sell the top and buy the bottom. Right? So, even if you bought the top now, just understand this, right? I'm not saying to hold on your bag until you round trip it, but if you ever did wind up in a situation where you round tripped all the way back down to like 30K, just understand that if you were not looking to sell your bag until you're all the way down like 75%, you might as well just hold on to it and buy more, right? Because you're going to just chew up all your capital. You might as well just hold it long term because eventually it'll go back up. Everybody's been waiting for 100K forever. It always seems so impossible, and here we are, guys. We hit 100K, and, now everyone's freaking out that we're at 82, right? It's like, it's pretty crazy. Yo, shout out to Golden. Let's go. Shout out to Golden, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat. He said a 51% attack against the Bitcoin network is only dangerous if that party has malicious intent. Shout out to Golden. That's information I could not have given you about a 51% attack. Shout out to Golden. Let's go, baby. Thank you for that input. So there we go. Hopefully, if we get a 51% attack, hopefully they're just friendly hackers or whatever. Shout out to Golden. Let's go. Drop those golden emojis in the chat. Show our boy Golden some love. My longs are printing. Let's go. Shout out to Gordon. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. Yo, shout out to Isaac Newton. Said, but I want a Lambo now. Shout out to Isaac Newton. That's really the mindset of crypto. And like I said, guys, long-term outlook. Right, long-term outlook will help you. Right, pamp it, baby, pamp it. But yeah, let me check in here real quick. All right, we're pushing up. Let's go. Let me pull up our actual chart here real quick. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's pull up the lower time frames here. Let me go ahead and hide the upper range. We'll hide all the local stuff, and we'll just pull up our good old scalp range. Here we go. All right. Oh, yeah. So she's still pushing up. I thought she was like really, really pumping. But yeah, there we go. 10-minute money flow crossing over into the green. Could we be foreshadowing the 15-minute money flow crossover with the 4-hour green dot? Potentially. Watch for that 15-minute money flow crossover. I think that's your best bet to make it to the POC value area high. And there we go. I got this. Shout out to the Discord. It's like sometimes like when I'm reading the order flow and we're like looking for CVD divergences and all that stuff, like sometimes you get this in like super, super last minute. Where are we? Bada boom. Where's it at? Yeah, there's the post from last night saying like, hey guys, definitely a valid short. I'm not personally in. I'm going to sit it out, but we're going to go to the POC and potentially the value area low. That wound up waking up with that coming down. And then, yeah. Hey, yo, what's going on, Mafia? Here are some local levels I'm watching. We're currently bouncing from the value area low with some local bullish CVD. This is the range we've been watching, just pulled to the current price action. We may be able to see a bounce here. If we could come back to the daily, I would, this would be the key level down below. And there we go. Now we're getting a little push up. Not too shabby. But there we go. Come on, baby. Push it. Come on. Pump it. Let's see. Do I have my... Bada boom. Yeah, so I'm still holding my long position over here. I got this one open. Bada boom over on Blowfin. Got 933 locked in, up a grand right now. So we'll see if this continues up. This will continue to pay me out. Come on, baby, push it up. I'm honestly only holding this long position right now, guys. So I do kind of favor, right? Not favor as in I think it's more likely, even though short term it might be. I do favor to move up, right? Because I'm only holding the long. If I were holding the short, I'd just be in a situation where I don't really care. But right now, I would favor a little bit more of a push to the upside. Come on. Rally us into FOMC, baby. Rally us into FOMC. I would absolutely love that. Next high volume node at 82,450. Guess it depends on what high volume node you are looking at. 82,450. Yeah, there we go. Right there, baby. 82.5, 82,450. Yeah, we're pushing into that, right? We're pushing into the shelf right now. Yo, shout out to Kill Gannon 84. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for the super chat. Said, screw the Lambo. Give me a 68 Mustang. Give me a 720S personally. Yeah, 68 Mustang be fire too. Yeah, I don't know. Lambos are apparently, the Honda Civics of supercars as far as reliability. McLarens are like the Mopar of supercars as far as reliability. I had a Mopar. I had a Charger that broke all the time. But yeah, give me a 720S. The 720S is like, oof, baby. I love that thing. Super sexy. And also not a Lambo, right? Like I feel like everybody just goes for the Lambo. Give me a 720S, baby. Give me or a 750S, the new one. Let's see. Right now, give me crypto, to be quite honest with you. Personally, me. Give me crypto. I don't need a liability right now. Let me grow that money. And then maybe we'll get a 720S. That'd be fire. Let's see. I need a rally, too. Shout out to Twice. Good analogy, Frankie. Shout out to K Diggity. Wow, I talk so much and so fast, I don't even remember the analogy. Shout out to K Diggity. Porsche GT3 RS. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a Porsche guy, but those GT3 RSs are pretty fire. Give me a Senna. Oh, God, the Senna's insane. It'd be hard to daily. We got some liquidations just above 83K. Let's go take them, baby. McLaren Motors built weak, thin rods. Okay, shout out to CJ. Yeah, I just hear, like, everyone who has a McLaren are just like, it's just, they're always broken. They're always in the shop, which is like, why are you going to buy a supercar? It's always in the shop, right? Like, and then, like, Huracans are, like, apparently the Honda Civic of supercars, right? Like, you just beat the heck out of them, twin turbo them, like, yeah. I feel like if you got a Huracan, you got to twin turbo it or supercharge it. My mom heard me listening to your stream, and she says, why does he talk so fast? Shout out to Gordon. Yeah, I'm not going to 4GT. The new Ford GTs are pretty fire, too. I don't even know how to drive. Shout out to Chemistry, bro. That's all right. Come on down to the States, brother. I'll give you some driving lessons. We'll take out I can't promise you're going to be not car sick after it. But yeah, we'll go drift somewhere. I don't know. We'll just go out to an open field and do some donuts. We'll show you how to drive the cool way. Let's see. You know, when I had I had a Charger RT back in the day. And I used to drive it completely safely, guys. I never sped. I never would slide it around corners. I would never drift it, ever. I had a stunt driver that would do it all the time, but I never did it personally, because that's illegal. But anyway, Camaro SS is my dream. Aston Martin DB9, good dailies. Yeah, shout out to Crypto Boyo. Yeah, there's not a lot of, like, good daily supercars. Shout out to Dean, said, why don't you try talking quickly and see how it sounds? Quickly instead of fast? I don't know. I talk at, like, the speed of light. Shout out to Crypto Boyle. Yeah, DB9. DB9s are nice. Ooh, an Impala SS or a 69 Charger? Ooh, probably a Charger. Grand Nationals are sick. I'm a car guy. I like all cars. Like, I would feel it would be just as cool to me to drive a bubble Civic with a laptop in the passenger seat as it is driving supercars. A 70 Charger RT and a 68 Dart GT. All right. Just give me a GTR. Yeah, GTR. I mean, let's GTR is the daddy of all cars, right? GTRs are so sick. One of my favorites. Frankie, tell us your top 3 most bullish coins for 2025. I thought that said 2023, Lars. I don't know why. Twin turbo GTO. Oh my God. WRX is fire too. I'm like, I just appreciate cars in general. Like, I see WRXs. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, yo, look at that. I'm always with Mrs. Candles. Like, oh my God, did you see that? Whatever. Like, you hear the blow off valves on that WRX? That was fire. And she's like, it looked like a normal car. I'm like, you just don't get it, Mrs. Candles. I actually saw a Revuelto. I saw a Lamborghini Revuelto the other day. I was out with Mrs. Candles. We saw a Revuelto. I'm not gonna lie. I walked up like I was like, dang, I didn't think I'd see one of these in person this soon. C42 AMG. Yo, low key, the what is it? I'm not a big Mercedes guy, but though the Mercedes interior is fire for like a daily. The CL, what is it? The CLE 53. I think they're coming out with the 63 now. But I think it's the CLE 53 AMG. That thing is sick. I'm not a big Mercedes guy, but that thing is sick for a daily. The interior on that car is insane. But yeah, top 3 most bullish coins. I'll be honest with you. Show me the chart, right? That is really what I look at when it comes to kind of what I'm looking at. I think we're in a little bit of a different environment when it comes to crypto nowadays. I think at this point, right, as the market matures, I think we're at a point where, the days of, like I said earlier, the days of like just sitting and waiting for Bitcoin to make a top, go sideways, and then every single altcoin in their mom goes parabolic. I think if not now, I think somewhat soon, if not now, we are going to see a situation where it's just not like that anymore. I think you have to, especially with the injection of so many coins being created now, you really need to be like nitpicking what you're looking at, right? And picking low cap gems. Hour and 15. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you, bro. Thank you. He's just like, why is this guy even telling me to keep him under control? But yeah, we can take a look at Sui. I just think we're in a different market now, right? With all the coins being created, I think gone are the days, or at least the days are leaving, where it's just like buy any altcoin and they're just all gonna moon. You know, kind of like what is it? Rising tides lifts all ships. Like, sure, that's definitely going to be true to a degree, but I don't know if it's going to be as lucrative, right? Where you're just seeing all the altcoins doing 50 and 100x's as this asset class matures. I don't know if it's like these top 30x coins, right? I think you really have to be more careful with what you pick now. And me personally, right, I hold a bunch of altcoins, right? You want to obviously pay attention to the narratives, right? Like RWA, AI, right? All the different narratives you kind of want to like pick within each narrative. But for me personally, right, like I have a lot of my bigger capital allocated to blue chips, right? Like Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, right? Like Chainlink, bigger coins that are have good tech and I think will be around long term. So, just trying to pick like the next perfect 50x gem. Like I think that, Peak is a lower cap coin that I'm accumulating, right? But it's I think we are entering a new phase of maturity for crypto in general. So yeah, I don't really have like a top 3 low cap gems. Like I think that is a thing of the past where it's just like, you can just like look at any low cap and it's like, hey, if Bitcoin pumps and all altcoins pump, this thing's probably going to pump anyway, right? Like I think we're starting to leave that phase of the market, and not phase like cyclically. I mean, like leave that. That's like that's like teenage crypto, right? Like now we're becoming adults, right? We're maturing as an asset class, and I think you do need to be a little bit more careful. So yeah. And we'll probably make some videos on like things that I, from a chart perspective, like, hey guys, I like Peak. Like right now, as I said, based off Bitcoin dominance, based on total 3, right? Like I'm kind of sitting on my hands, right? Like I don't want to just like maybe DCAing in slowly is okay, right? Like buy a little here, go down to more, buy a little there, right? But as far as like dumping in and like really paying attention to like altcoins, like really making some serious bottoms, maybe the bottoms are in, but I want to see a lot of things shape up. So yeah, I think we are just entering a different kind of phase of just the market in general. You're making me, shout out to Isaac Newton said you're making me second guess my algo investment. No, I listen. Again, right? Like we talked about this yesterday, right? The U.S. made coins, right? Like you go on CoinMarketCap, you can look up the USA made list, right? Like algo's on that list. It's ISO 20022. Like I think that's a narrative to play into. I think you should hold, right? Not financial advice. I do hold. ISO 2002 coins, right? I like algo, right? I like it. So yeah, like I'm just talking about like, every like, back in the day, it was like this new low cap gem, it's going to 50x, right? And then Bitcoin pumps, the altcoins pump, and then this thing just follows. I think you have to be a little bit more, just a little bit more careful. But algo, I would consider algo somewhat of a blue chip, right? Era, yeah, there you go. Shout out to Kembro says Era is where'd they go? Era is the word you're looking for, I think. Yeah, shout out to Chemistry Bro. That is the exact word that I'm looking to say. We're entering a different era, and I could be wrong. Maybe just all the garbage coins fly anyway. But I just think the rising tides lifts all ships thing. We got to be a little bit more careful with this cycle. All I need is a 6-liter GTR. Oh, my God. GTRs are fire. I'm big Ondo, Peak. Also, the FUD on ETH and Sol makes me think they will come back very strong. Shout out to Lars. I could not agree more. I feel all of that I agree with. All right, let's see. All right, let's take a quick look at Sui. I'm going to cover some of these, and I got to hop out of here, guys. I do have a bunch of stuff. I just want to do a little short. We've been going way over. What are we at now? Hour 20? Okay, yeah, I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon here. Let's take a look at Sui real quick. That's an old fib. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Let me see this profile. So I wouldn't ignore this older profile, but I would probably pay more attention to this one, if I'm being honest. So here, what do we have, right? You have another thing with altcoins, guys, like for me personally, right? I know a lot of people are just hunting for the you have to have realistic expectations as well. I know a lot of people are looking to turn like $1,000 into $1 million, right? Like, and that can happen, right? I've seen this happen in crypto. But for me personally, right? Like, I'm a trader, right? So like a lot of the coins, like even altcoins, right? Like a lot of these I am going to be trading, right? Like even on Bitcoin, right? Like I make money every day trading, right? Not I lose money too sometimes, obviously, but like I trade every day, right? For the most part. And this is like, you know, I'm making this money from the trades, right? And this is in and out. So like for me personally, like when it comes to how I personally make money in crypto, I like having a skill that I am able to learn and master that can give me repetitive returns from the market regardless of direction, meaning if it goes up, down, or sideways, I can extract money from the market, right? So I'm not necessarily tied to just like trying to catch every low cap gem and hold it into the bull market. It's like a kind of a, in a way, it seems counterintuitive, but like in a way, it's almost less stressful, right? Because I'm just getting in. Cool. I made a couple $1,000s. Let me grab that and pocket it. And now I can funnel that into like long-term bags higher up on the market cap list, right? So it's like, you know, catching the small trades every single day. It's like, that's how I extract money out of the market. I'm a trader, right? And the beautiful thing about that is like, I don't have to hope to catch the next low cap gem to make $1 million. Now, do I try to catch low caps? Yes. Do I invest in a ton of altcoins? Yes. But at the end of the day, right? Like, this is my full-time job, right? I just make money all the time, whether price is going up, bear market, bull market, sideways, choppy, it doesn't matter, right? We're in here trading all the time, extracting money. So, you know, if you were to like take that all together, it's like, it's in my opinion, right? And maybe this isn't even opinion. It's less gambly, right? Because like I'm not relying on some team to fulfill a white paper that they released that they're probably not going to do, right? I'm relying on a skill that is repeatable day after day. And if you're able to manage risk, you can get a predictable, right? Somewhat predictable. It's very not predictable compared to other things, but somewhat of a predictable thing, right? Like I just have to master the skill of trading, extract money from the market consistently, right? You're going to lose too, right? But that's why nowadays I kind of take a little bit more of a conservative approach, right? Sure, I hold a lot of altcoins, but when it comes to like percentage of capital, I have a way higher percentage of my capital in like blue chip, things that I'm confident in long term, right? This takes a lot of stress out of my spot bags because I'm not sitting there like, oh my God, Solana's dumping. Oh my God, it's going to zero. I should probably sell and buy back lower. If it goes down, I believe in it long term. I'm going to buy it, right? I'm going to buy the dip, right? And hold it long term. Again, like the times where I get like, oh my God, what's going to happen is only if I'm like stuck in a trade with no stop loss, right? Which very rarely happens now. Let's see. Shout out to Golden. Thank you for the super chat, bro. And I'm laughing because, what are you up to? Shout out to Golden. He says, what is the highest priced liquidation zone right now? Shout out to Golden. I will get back into Sui here, guys. But the highest priced liquidation zone, let me see. I'm going to have to pull up a little bit of a higher time frame. I would say, listen, Golden, just in general, real quick, guys. I know I'm kind of all over the place right now. Sui breaking above the value area low. POC value area high above. Because I don't want like I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, look at Sui, bro. It's on the screen. Come on, I'm waiting for this. These are the levels, right? And then I'm going to go into, I'll go a little deeper into this, but just so you can get those levels, right? We're getting above that value area low. Keep pushing up. POC value area high might be next. But Golden, I will tell you this, right? Based off what I look at, right? We do have a ton of liquidity above $100,000, right? Really above 99K. Right, so above us, right, I would say the highest hotspots of liquidity is sitting above right here, specifically on the, though this is the Bitstamp chart. Let me pull up Bybit, right? So right here, that's Ethereum. Right here at 99,489, we have a ton of liquidity sitting up there, a ton. Visible liquidity on the heat maps above 100,000. Right? Above that, above the all-time high is another area where there's a lot of liquidity. But let me pull this up on the heat map so I can show you. And then on top of that, locally, above 85... let me just pull this up real quick. Okay, so here we go. This is very clear, too, which is really nice. $100,000 above this high right here, 99.5. This is a hot spot of liquidity. This is very, very, very significant, right? Ton of liquidity above 100K, 99.5, right? So I would say that's probably the biggest level before all-time highs, right? And then you also have a bunch of liquidity above all-time highs as well. So 99.5 is level number 1. And then if we come on over here, locally above, I would say 85K, we also have another significant amount of liquidity leading up to about 86,330. That's another hot spot. So between 85, I would say about 85.2 and 86.3. And then $100,000 is the next like real significant level of liquidity. And shout out to Golden. Thank you for another super chat. Yes. And then above the all-time high, there is also a ton of liquidity. I'm going to have to go to a much higher time frame for that. Yeah. And then that is another, actually, I could see it on this one. Right. And then, yeah, like the rest of that liquidity sits above about 110K, right? But basically sitting between 110, and then you have a real hot spot at about 115, and then it starts to taper off towards about 118. So right there, that is, those are the high liquidity levels. So again, 85, like right up here, about 85.4, then about 100K, right above here, and then right above the all-time highs. Those are the big levels of liquidity that I would be looking at. So shout out to Golden. Great question, and pretty solid. Those are like those are areas where there's like pretty clear liquidity. I would say 100K. I think 100K's got a lot up there, other than the all-time high. But then locally you have the 85.4 level. So there you go. Shout out to Golden. Thank you for the super chats, and hopefully that helps you out. I don't know what you're up to, but hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's good. Shout out to Golden. Let's see. Let me pull chat back up. Yeah, 100K's got a ton. Yeah, shout out to Full Melt Mike. Anything below us, the significant levels below us, I would go ahead and say the levels that we've been looking at, honestly. We do have liquidity sitting below our wick here at 76.5, leading us into the weekly at about 75K. Liquidity sitting down there, and then like really below that, like the next big area of liquidity is pretty much below this range. Tons of liquidity around 50K. So, you know, hopefully we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, like I would say a ton down here, right? Like even up in here. But yeah, I would say like around the 50s, and then just locally right down here. But there you go. On SUI, I do want to cover SUI here. Just pull up a lower time frame. So here we go. Locally, right, we have this little local volume profile. There's kind of two here, but locally I would look at this, right? Value area low sitting right down here at about 226. Stay above here. Could work our way up to the POC, 232. That would be the next target if you could stay above here. Flip that POC, I'd be looking up to the value area high at 237. Right, and this is pretty well respected. Flip the low, POC, value area high. Deviation, back to the POC, back to the value area low. Right, so that would kind of be the anticipation here. Now, is it likely to happen? Let's see. You got your 4-hour green dot looking to print, right? So that would be nice to see if you can get that 15-minute money flow to cross over into the green, which it looks like it may want to do. I don't love that you don't have a bullish divergence down here. You kind of do down here. Yeah, I would rather see some stronger. I mean, your 1-hour money flows looking to cross over into the green, fresh 16-hour red dot. So, yeah, not the perfect setup, but this would definitely be the local range I would look at. Hold the value area low at 227. Next major target would be about 232. Probably confluent with the golden pocket. There it is. So these would be levels I would look at on SUI to the upside. Boom, 786 honorable mention here, 235. No confluence on the value area high, though. So that POC, you know, if you do continue up here, hold this value area low, the idea here would be to come up to that POC. Maybe we'll see it happen right now. I doubt it, but that would be nice. So there we go. You know, higher time frame, 2-day money flow still in the red, right? So we have to be careful, but, you know, this is like more of like a 30-minute range, right? And then you could kind of, you know, also look at this range as well, which would essentially be kind of, you know, just extending this one out a little bit more. That value area low is sitting at 218, right? So let's assume you don't get accepted into this range. Let's say we kind of just bing bong around and you lose this range. Next key level I would watch is 219. So there you go. We'll see how that plays out. But right now, locally, I mean, nice to see you back in this range. See if we can get a little rotation. I would look at that as a shorter-term trade, though. Not like a swing to all-time highs or anything like that. If we had a 16-hour green dot printing on this 1-hour money flow crossover, I'd feel real good about that. But it's just a little chopped up right now. A little chopped up. But there we go. Nice to see this. So that's what I'll be looking at on SUI. Let me bring up chat real quick here. Bada boom, bada bing. 115. Got it. Thanks, boss. Shout out to Golden. Let's go, baby. Shout out to Golden. Thank you for being here, bro. And thank you for all the super chats. I appreciate you, bro. And hopefully that information helps you out. She's pushing. She's pushing. Bitcoin trying to push too. Come on, SUI. Come on, SUI. Yeah, that 15-minute money flow with the 4-hour green dot would be nice to see. Come on, green dot. 15-minute money flow crosses into the green. You would anticipate a potential continuation of the trend to the upside into that POC. Flip that POC. You could look to work your way up towards that value area high with the 786 sitting at 235. That's what I'd look at. So there we go. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Already pushed up pretty decently. I don't remember exactly what minute we were looking at this, but, we got into this value area not too long ago, right? And we'd started already pushing up. Not too bad. But there we go. All right. So if, I'll take a look at Ethereum too. Again, I do have a lot to do here tonight, guys. I have a lot of important stuff to do. So I was going to cut this a little short. I probably am going to end here. But, even Ethereum, guys, still the same situation as we've been looking at forever. It's just chopping sideways, right? We got to get above the value area high. If we can break out, golden pocket sitting at $2,000 is the next target. Flip above that. Value area low /786 sitting between $2,060 and $2,100 is that next major target. If you can get above that value area low at $2,100, that's a doorway to higher prices into your larger profile. So that would be nice to see. But until then, right, we're just chopping around in this lower profile. And everything else remains exactly the same. 1-hour money flow crossing over into the green. But you have your VWAP coming down here. So that's, I would love, if we had a fresh 16-hour green dot here, that would be absolutely beautiful. But we just don't have it. But other than that, a lot of this stuff remains exactly the same as we've been looking at, guys. Really super choppy price action. Again, really just paying attention more to the scalps and the lower time frame trades. Bada boom. 1,200. Up 1,200 on the long now. Come on, break us back out here, baby. Break us back out here. ETH is hot potato. Yo, shout out to Simano. Shout out to Simano. Hot potato, hot potato. Let's see. What's up with the radium? Oh, no. Oh, no. Why did I just go dark, guys? I just went dark. Chat disappeared. Come on, baby. Chat. Refreshing. Chat. Hello, chat. Are we back? Are we back? Something happened. Am I frozen? Can you hear me? I think you should be able to still hear me and see me. I think we're good. No! Okay, are we good? I think we're good. We good. Okay. Perfect. Okay, perfect. All right. So let's see. I'll take a quick look at Radium. God, it's so hard to get off these streams, guys. I'm not going to lie. Low-key have super important stuff I have to do. Very important. But I just can't. I can't stay away from the Mafia, man. I just can't do it. Radium Pump. Okay, yeah. Pretty funny, man. I saw people last night on TikTok. They're like, every altcoin is pumping, and I'm like, and me personally, I'm like, wait, what the heck? Am I missing something? I look at the charts all day. What did I miss? I go to the charts and I'm just like, yeah, we're up. And I will talk about this. It's a nice little pop to the upside for Radium. But I'm looking at all the altcoins, and I'm like, we're not pumping, right? Sure, we're pumping locally, but it's in the grand scheme of things, right? And I read the comments. Thank God people are wising up to this. People are like, dude, a 5% pump after a massive dump is not us pumping. And it is true, but Radium with a nice little pop to the upside. What is this? 25%. Not too bad. Not too bad. Let's check the 4-hour real quick. 4-hour green dot. 15-minute money flow crossover into the green. I mean, you ask me what happened here. Shout out to Tony Roaz. Look at that thing. Boom. I don't know. Maybe you might have gotten news or something like that. But if you ask me, right, it's the same thing that I'm looking at on, for example, SUI, right? Money flow coming up on the 15-minute, 4-hour green dot looking to print. Technically, this is printing on Radium, which is maybe why you're already getting the bigger move up. 15-minute money flow crossover into the green, 4-hour green dot. So that's kind of what I would say is going on here, right, from a technical perspective, right? Other than the fact that this thing has been going nothing but down since January, right? So, like, bounces are to be expected, right? Hopefully it's not another one of these. It could be a short squeeze too, right? Like, it's kind of hard to say if I'm not looking at the actual order flow here or like where those liquidations are sitting, but you could be seeing something like that as well. People might be buying the dip here, right? For example, if you're looking at spot CVD and you could see, which basically just tells you when people are buying on spot, and you're looking at future CVD, which tells you when people are shorting and longing, right? If you have a lot of short, like if you have your future CVD coming down, showing that a lot of people are shorting, right? But price is trending up. And if your spot CVD is coming up, right? This is what causes a short squeeze, right? People are buying on spot, supporting price in an uptrend, and people are shorting this thing to zero. They're like, no, go to zero. I'm shorting. What are they doing? They're shorting the bottom. But if people are buying on spot and that uptrend is supported by people buying on spot, eventually price is going to push up and stop out everybody who's shorting here. I can almost guarantee you. Let me see here. Let me see if I can pop this up real quick. It might take me a second. What is this? Radium. So I'm actually going to take a look at this in real time. Let me pull up spot CVD. It might not be the case, right? It could potentially not be the case. But oftentimes, right, let me pull up a higher time frame. Why does the spot CVD not work on this? What the heck? It's just glitching out. Spot CVD. Just work. Of course, it just won't work. Okay, I can't pull up spot CVD on Coinalyze for some reason on Radium. One thing I can see here, though, is, right, if we look here at Coinalyze, right, you could see here, future CVD is coming down, right? Tons of people are shorting into this. So, for example, right, if you see everybody shorting in an uptrend like this, I talk about this all the time. I have a tutorial showing you guys how to spot this. If you have an uptrend, and again, I can't say this is the case because the spot CVD is just not here. But if you have spot CVD coming up, right? Is this going to draw or what? Hang on. Let me see if I can refresh this real quick. I'm just actually going to pull this up on another tab. Because we can actually know if this is a short squeeze, right? And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Radium. So let's see. This would be a good educational portion of the stream. All right. Let's pull up like the 2 hour. Let's pull up the future CVD. And let's pull up the spot CVD. Come on. Give it to me. I'm trying to get it to work. It's not working over here either, guys. Give me 1 second. Because if I could show this, we could literally call this as a short squeeze if the information agrees with us here. I just can't get spot CVD on this. Okay, interesting. Well, either way, yeah, from a chart perspective, I would probably put a high probability on that being some shorts getting wrecked. However, yeah, 15-minute money flow coming up into the green with the 4-hour green dot. I mean, hey, that's not a maybe this is kind of foreshadowing what is going to happen with Sui. Not that they're like related for any reason, but just kind of looking at it as like it's the same setup, right? 15-minute money flow crossover. Oftentimes, when you can catch these 15-minute money flow crossovers slightly early, right, in like the last quarter, I think that's what Crypto Face says. Shout out to Crypto Face. He always talks about how if you can get in on that like last little quarter of the money flow, right? That's usually a good time. Sure, you're front running the crossover into the green, but if you want to get a nice entry, sometimes you can get that. And when you have that in confluence with the 4-hour green dot, right, you're looking for that big move to the upside. So this is nice. I would say 4-hour, 15-minute market cipher B116 strategy is a big reason for this. But yeah, let me see if I could spot some targets for you potentially. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, I mean, like significant Fibonacci retracement here. Not really the perfect, not really the perfect range here, but I would probably be looking at something like this. Let's see. Yeah, I would look for this to potentially come up in here. If you could get, I mean, obviously this value area low is going to be resistance. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. So this is kind of what I would look for, right? If you continue up. I'm not guaranteeing you're going to get here, but you're pretty close at this point. If you could creep your way up here to, I would call it about $2.10, flip above that level, push into the POC golden pocket value area high. Like these are the key levels I would look at. 210, next key level of resistance. Get above that. Could push up towards 240. Get above that. Could push into the golden pocket value area high at about 253. These are local levels I would look at. If this thing is just going to keep screaming, I don't know if it is, but if it does, that would be nice targets, right? If you come back down, you have your beautiful little volume profile down beneath you to give you a guide on where price would go, right? So if you get a cool off, right, and you come all the way back down somehow to the value area high, this would be a key level. Break below this, you might be able to come back into the range. If it's a short squeeze, right, let's see here. You do have equal highs here, right? So you could be just kind of SFPing these equal highs. If you were, let's pull up the 1 hour real quick. Yeah, if you SFP this high here, come back down, you could potentially get a push down to that value area low. But for the most part, right, like in general, that would be looked at as more of like a scalp, in my opinion. But yeah, that 4 hour, 15-minute strategy, 4 hour, 15-minute money flow crossover could give you the continuation of the trend to the upside, right, which could potentially, right, if you wind up SFPing this on the 1 hour, you got about 33 minutes to confirm that. But if you can get down there, right, maybe you come in to put a higher low in and then eventually attack those higher prices. Let me see. Pull this from the low to the high. You have confluence on the POC. Let's come on down to a lower time frame. All right, so these would be some local levels I would pay attention to. Whoops. Yeah, so if you come back down to the local fib, 786. Sure, you could bounce off the golden pocket, but I would pay more attention to the 786. Whoops. 786 value area high. It's a cool off, right? Look for this as a potential higher low. If that 4 hour, 15 minutes is going to play out, this would be the first zone to be looking at. I'll even extend this up a little bit, right? If you break below the value area high, I would be looking towards the golden pocket POC confluence with the honorable mention of the 786 down below, right? But at that point, it's like I have trouble longing this or like looking for a bounce here because you're below the POC, and then at that point, the value area low is very likely because you're accepted back into the range. So something like this. If you cool off, right, if you SFP this wick here, come on down, I would look for bounce here. If you don't get it there, I would look for it here. Wick down to the 786 could be possible. So, yeah, those are the levels I'd be looking at on Radium. Nice little pump to the upside. But you ask me why it happens, I would say 4 hour, 15-minute money flow crossover or short squeeze, which I cannot confirm right now. So I can't say it's the case if I can't confirm it, right? I'm only giving hard information here. But there we go. Let's see. Oh, wait, hang on. Shout out to Golden. Shout out to Muhammad said, sir, can I buy BTC or sell BTC? Tell me, please. Shout out to Muhammad. You could totally buy or sell BTC. I am not the keeper of buying and selling crypto. But shout out to Muhammad. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Let's see. Did we take a look at ETH yet? Yes, we did take a look at ETH. Yeah, we took a quick look at it. It's in the same situation that we've been in for quite some time, just kind of bing-bong and sideways. But we did go over it. If you scrub back, you will see it. New pump. Come on, baby. Come on. All right, let's see. Dang, man. I'm not going to lie, guys. I am happy that I got that call in the Discord just in time. Because, you got to be on the charts, right? Like, and obviously I can't be on the charts 24/7, right? Even though I pretty much am. With this original profile that we had, which was pulled, right? With our original profile that we were looking at, right? This is very similar to what happened back here too, right? With the original profile we were looking at was something like this, right? So when you look at this from the original profile that we were watching, right? And this is why you always have to be able to look at the charts, take in new information, and act accordingly, right? Now, and again, I'm not saying this is guaranteed to just launch off, right? We could still potentially see the short play out in full. And by short position, I mean the short from the high from yesterday, right? So, we look for that to get into the range, break to the POC, lose the POC, and potentially continue down to the value area low. But when we wake up the next day, right, we were like, oh, great. Wow, this played out really nicely. We got a 3.5% move. Beautiful. I love that, especially when the Mafia gets in on the move in the premium. I'm like, even though I didn't take this trade, it was in the premium. It's like, that makes me super happy. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I get more excited when whether I'm in the position or not, but I always get most excited when, like, even if, like, sometimes once in a while I'll take like a degenerate trade on the side, and if the trade hits big, right, I'm not even excited when that happens as much as I am when I have a sound setup in the Discord play out where people are able to take advantage of it, right? But at this point, POC is take profit 1, stop loss to break even, right? This is now usually a guaranteed risk-free trade or guaranteed winning trade, right? So if this thing yeets off to higher prices, it's like, okay, cool. Stop out of the short for profit, and the long from the low that we are also in from the premium continues to pay us out. I am still holding that long position, and it could potentially continue to pay us out. But if, right, we're coming up to the POC right now, so if we reject that POC, could get the bigger drop to the value area low for that short to play out in full, right? But at this point, it's TP locked in, stop loss to profit, stop loss to break even, right? So we'll see. We are approaching that previous POC at $82,726. But to be honest, right now, right, I would be, potentially looking at this local profile, right? Because, again, the reason I pull this to current price action is simply because once you get back into that range, this is balanced price now, right? If we started yeeting off to higher prices, I would not extend the profile. But once you come back into that range and you're back into your fair value, you can extend it to the right because the volume profiles are only going to point out to us the fair price. That's how I make money from trading these profiles, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens here, guys. And just honorable mention here, we kind of front ran it, but this is also confluent with the 786. We barely front ran that daily /786. However, pulled from this local low to the high, you have that 786 there as well. So we'll see what happens. But these are the local levels I'm looking at above, right? POC, 83,126. Flip that. We can look up to the value area high. Once we deviate above there, we can reassess the situation, which is going to be a little bit sticky because of the range that we have above us. Right? Are we going to, if we get the bearish confirmations, we could take the shot for another short. However, got to set those stops because if we wind up breaking back in here and going through this profile, we don't want to, get wrecked on that. We want to get stopped out for a small loss and then have the long from down here continue to pay us out. Right? So those are the levels. If you, I went over all the key levels on Bitcoin at the beginning of the stream, guys. So if you missed that, if you're just tuning in, scrub back to the beginning of the stream, check it out. We give all the key levels, the high time frame levels, the low time frame levels, and what I'm looking at for my next trades. So there we go. Is it wise to trade spot with no stop loss and only closing at profit? Shout out to Jabber. I mean, it depends. I would say, why are you still alive? Shout out to Bitfrog. I would say, yo, white WRX owner here. Shout out to Carlitos. Shout out to you, bro. I've never owned a Subaru. I had a friend that had a crazy worked Bug-Eye, and it was horrifying. That thing was so scary. But it was one of the coolest cars I've ever been in. Thing was crazy. He had I don't even know what he had done to it, to be honest. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. Almost a 2-hour stream. You said 1 hour. Shout out to Bitfrog. I know. But we got sidetracked, but I had to dish out the sauce for you guys. What's Suey doing now? I just want to check out. Now I want to check out everything else. Is it playing out? All right, still kind of bing-bonging around. But yeah, which Frankie? Frankie's clock is broken. Yeah, I know. It's so bad, guys. But with all that being, said, guys, someone said, "Oh my God, ETH." Oh my God, why do I keep getting disconnected here from chat? But yeah, I do have to hop out of here, guys. Let me see. It's going to dump tomorrow. Just don't get stopped out. Shout out to Lars. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe we're in a situation where we're going to kind of rally into FOMC, and we'll see what happens. But you guys all know my key levels now. Again, if you just tuned in, go ahead, scrub to the beginning of the stream, get all the sauce. I got to get out of here. I'm already over time. But thank you guys for tuning in. And with all that being said, that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. No fake out today because I'm already late. So I'm just going to run the I'm just going to go ahead and run the music and hop out of here. Hopefully I don't have to pay penalties now. But anyway, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time. I'll see what we're doing for FOMC. I'm not sure exactly what my schedule is tomorrow. But yeah, we'll see what happens. And for the love of God, Please, hopefully, we don't go down to the 70,000s, but go watch the stream from the beginning. And with all that being said, I'll see you guys here tomorrow. Same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you guys in the premium. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the roll.